Hey, I'm Kathleen Jasper, and today we're talking about what to expect on test day for your SAT test. Let's get started. All right, for those of you who are just starting your SAT journey and you might be going into your test for the first time, I want to talk to you a little bit about what to expect on test day. All right, so the doors usually open at about 7:45 a.m. and testing will begin between 8:15 and 8:45. So I recommend getting to your testing center, which is usually your high school or a high school in the area, at around 7:30. Just make sure you're there with plenty of time. You don't want to be rushing in the door and then feeling all, hyped up and anxiety induced before your test. So get there early, even if you sit in the car and finish your Starbucks or whatever, do that and be ready to enter the building around 7:45 a.m. When you come in, there will be a proctor and the proctor will check you in. If you have a handheld calculator, which I recommend you bring, they will check it to make sure it is approved. Most graphing calculators are approved by SAT, but you can just put in the model of your calculator quickly on the SAT website. College Board will then give you whether it's approved or not. There's a whole list, and I'll link that up in the description below so you can check that out. But I do recommend bringing a handheld calculator, even if you plan to use the Desmo's on-screen calculator. Having that handheld is going to be super beneficial when you're trying to work through some easy calculations. So when you come in, you're going to be testing on the computer unless you have accommodations, but most people will do the digital SAT. So you will open a laptop, you will then get on to the center's Wi-Fi, and then you will open up the Bluebook app, which is College Board's app to deploy the SAT. In it, you will have several tools. Number one is going to be that Desmo's calculator, and I want you to make sure you watch my Desmo's calculator tutorials on this channel because that calculator is a lifesaver. There are also other tools in there that you can use to highlight text, to cross out bad answer choices, which I love because I love working backwards and saying, nope, that's not the answer. That's not the answer. Figuring out what's not the answer is just as important as figuring out the answer. So there will be some tools in there, but the proctor will give you a start code. And once you enter the start code, your testing Bluebook will open and you will be able to begin your test. Now, every student is timed individually. So let's say it takes you a second to put in your code. Your timer doesn't start until you specifically start your exam. So you might see students who are still working when you get up to leave, or you might see students getting up to leave. Don't worry about anybody else except for you. This is your day, your test. Nobody else matters. It's all your own test. Now, you know this from the structure videos I've done before, but remember, there are 2 modules for each section of the test. Module 1, reading and writing. Module 2, reading and writing. Module 1, math. Module 2, math. And remember, this is adaptive testing, meaning when you start to answer questions correctly in Module 1, it will begin to feed you more difficult questions in Module 2. That's a good thing because you get more points for the more complex questions. Now, that's a thing done on the back end with College Board. It's proprietary information. I do not know the exact formula, but just know if you start seeing some harder questions coming up into Module 2, that's okay. Just answer them. You're doing great. Now, once you've moved on from a module, so let's say you have completed Module 1 for reading and writing, you cannot go back. When you're in a module, you can go back into the different questions. So for example, if I'm on question 25 in module 1 on the reading and writing, and I want to go back to question 15, I can do that. But once you complete Module 1 and you've submitted it, you cannot go back. Now you're on Module 2, you cannot go back to Module 1. Now you want to make sure you answer every single question. You do not want to leave anything blank. And here's a quick tip. If you're running out of time, so let's say I'm in Module 2 of the math and I look up at my timer and I can see I only have 30 seconds left and I still have 5 questions to go. And I know there's no way I'm going to be able to do it. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the same answer for all 5 questions. It can be A, B, C, or D. It doesn't matter. They're evenly distributed on the test. I know there's a whole thing used to go around that C is always the right answer. Not necessarily. Pick the one you want, but let's just say it's B. You can go B, 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 B for all 5. Why do I do that? Because if you skip around, and we used to call this Christmas treeing the test when I was a kid because we had scantrons, and when you would go back and forth. You'd almost make a Christmas tree on your Scantron. That's what we called it. But on a digital exam, obviously it's not that way. But if you use the same answer, you could get one or more correct. If you skip around and go A, C, D, B, A, you could miss them all. If you use the same guessing answer, you're going to get one, maybe two, possibly three correct in those 5 questions. So use one guessing letter. And I recommend using the same guessing letter on all of them if you have to guess out of the blue. Now, I always say narrow down first before you guess. But if you're in that situation where the time is not going to allow you to narrow down, you just got to go and submit. That's okay. Same letter, A, or B, or C, or D. Doesn't matter which one, just use the same one for all the remaining questions. Now, when your test is over, it will be submitted automatically. And if your submission fails for some reason, and this is rare, but don't worry, all of your answers are saved. So let's just say something happens with the portal or something. It does happen. Things happen. Don't freak out. Your answers will be saved and you'll be able to resubmit. So try not to think about that. I'm just saying if a technical glitch happens, which is rare, your answers will be saved in the Bluebook. So don't worry. Now, the Bluebook is a custom built app by SAT. It is their app. And so when you see my online courses, I try to mirror it the best I can, but it is their proprietary, copyrighted information and trademarked kind of modules that they use. But you will be able to pull up that Desmos calculator, pull up those tools. And so I highly recommend you use the Bluebook practice modules on the College Board website, and we will link that up where to get that, to practice, to simulate practice, because then you can sort of use their practice tests in their Bluebook and use the tools so you're ready on test day. Now, a couple more resources you get on test day. You do get a math reference sheet. It's on screen. Again, you get that Desmos calculator, and you can bring your own calculator. If you do not have your own handheld graphing calculator, you can ask SAT to provide you one or College Board to provide you one. There is a link on their website that you can do that, and we will also link that up in the description. Again, there's a tool to mark off wrong answers. There are tools to highlight, and you can also do that little mark the question for review. It's like a little tab you can click at the top that you can go back and sort of look and see, if you still want to answer it that way. I still recommend picking an answer choice because you don't want to run out of time and then not have it answered. So always answer it, but you can flag it for review later. Remember, you can go back if you're still in that module. If you complete the module, you cannot go back. Now let's talk about breaks. You will get a 1 10-minute break during the test, and I recommend you take it. When it's time for that 10-minute break, get up out of your seat, go out into the hall, get a drink of water, get the blood moving back into your body. I know a lot of people just want to skip it, but your brain will really benefit just from a quick walk down the hall, quick drink from the water fountain, and then get back in and do the next part of the exam. You can also take unscheduled breaks if you need it. So if you need to go to the restroom, don't, be uncomfortable during the test. You can take an unscheduled break, but you will lose your time. So I would recommend getting to that testing center early, using the restroom, and then taking that 10-minute break in the middle of the test, and you should be fine. Now, when it comes to dismissal, you'll likely be done before noon, which is good. And then you can go have fun with your friends and sort of decompress because it is a long test. And after your test is finished, the proctor will collect your scratch paper. And if you got a calculator provided by College Board, they will collect that as well. Now, you'll want to be quiet leaving the room because students may still be testing, because remember that time is specific to each student. So just get up quietly when you're finished and leave. Now, here's the thing. It's going to be anxiety inducing. That's what standardized tests do to people. It's okay. Remember, you can take this test many, many times. So even if the first time you take it isn't your best day, and it probably won't be, the first time you take it, probably not going to blow it out of the park. Okay. I recommend that you just relax and say, I'm just seeing how I do. This is the task I have at hand, and I'm going to see how I do today, and sort of take that tension off. Again, you can go back for the next testing date and take it again. College Board will take your money, so they will happily allow you to test more than once. So just kind of use it as a way to learn something, learn new strategies, get some insights about the test, and then go back out, study, work on some things, go back in, take it again. It is not the end of the world. Also, I am 47 years old and no one ever asks me what my SAT score was. I have done my whole life without ever having to use my SAT score. It's just this one measure for this one moment in time. You're trying to get into college or graduate or whatever you're using this score for. You will be fine. And it will be over before you know it. All right. Thank you so much for watching today. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the comments below. It will be my pleasure to help. And good luck if you're taking the test soon. And let me know how you're doing. If you've used some of my strategies or if you have a new strategy you want to share, let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for watching and have a great day.